Have you ever felt it? That cold realization that your life is not your own, that you are trapped inside a cycle you never agreed to. Patterns repeat, opportunities vanish, dreams fade right before your eyes, and no matter what you try, something unseen keeps pulling you back. This is not chance. It is not failure. It is not the universe punishing you. It is a code, a living frequency buried in your subconscious. A code that decides which future collapses into your reality. And while you sleep, while you hope, while you speak of abundance, this hidden code may still be whispering scarcity. The field does not listen to your words. It listens to who you are. Beneath the affirmations, beneath the mask, at the raw frequency of your belief. Right now, your subconscious is observing, broadcasting, instructing, and the universe is responding with absolute precision. Science has shown it. Nearly 95% of what you think, feel, and attract is programmed long before you knew the rules. Childhood imprints, emotional scars, inherited patterns. They became the silent script you follow each day. That is why you wake up in the same loop and call it destiny. But here is the dangerous truth. Every signal you send out is data. Every fear, every doubt, every moment of pressure is not just a feeling. It is instruction. It is a command. And reality has no choice but to obey. Yet buried inside this terrifying mechanism lies the only miracle you need. Codes can be rewritten. Frequencies can be recalibrated. The moment you shift the broadcast, reality must reorganize. Right now, infinite versions of you exist. The healed you, the abundant you, the fearless you. But only one version will collapse into your life. And the choice is being made in this exact moment. What frequency are you sending now? What future will you allow to appear? The time to decide is not tomorrow. The time is now . So let me ask you this. How many mornings will you wake up and accept the same script? How many nights will you close your eyes, believing you are powerless? How much longer will you let a silent program dictate the story you call your life? Every heartbeat is a signal. Every thought is a frequency. Every hidden belief is a code. And the field listens to all of it. You may think you are wishing for freedom, but if your subconscious whispers fear, then fear is what responds. You may tell yourself you are ready for love, but if your subconscious carries wounds of rejection, then rejection is what echoes back. This is not imagination. This is physics. Quantum mechanics reveals the observer effect. Reality does not exist in a fixed state until it is observed. And what is observing your life the most? It is not your conscious intention. It is your subconscious mind. It never sleeps. It never rests. It broadcasts without pause. And that broadcast is the script you are living. In laboratories across the world, the evidence is clear. Observation changes outcomes. Waves collapse into particles. Potential collapses into events. In the same way, your subconscious collapses one version of your future into reality. That is why two people can live in the same world and experience completely different lives. Think about that. Two people standing side by side. One surrounded by constant struggle. One surrounded by opportunity. Same world. Different frequency, different code, and here is where it becomes personal. A researcher in America once confessed that for years he faced failure after failure. Career dead ends, relationships falling apart, health collapsing. He thought it was fate. He thought he was unlucky, until he realized the truth. He was broadcasting the wrong code. The moment he rewrote the code, the shift was undeniable. Success came, connection deepened, joy returned, not by chance, but by frequency. So what about you? Will you keep repeating the same story? Or will you finally interrupt the code? You are not broken. You are not late. You are not blocked. You are simply vibrating with a frequency that no longer serves you. And the miracle is this: the code can be rewritten. The frequency can be tuned. The script can be changed. The moment you accept this truth, the power returns to you. The moment you choose to see your emotions as data, not destiny, you begin to reclaim authorship. Fear becomes instruction you can override. Doubt becomes evidence of an old program fading. Every negative state becomes a clue that tells you where the code must shift. This is not philosophy. This is quantum causality. And you are standing right at the doorway of it. So breathe. Feel the urgency of this moment. Because in this exact breath, the choice is happening. The signal is broadcasting. The field is listening. The question is simple. What will you transmit? What code will you allow to define you? What script will you choose to live? The time is not later. The time is not someday. The time is now. And if you are ready, if you feel the pull inside your chest, if you are tired of the loop and ready to collapse a new future, then take one simple step right now. Comment the words, "I am ready to rewrite my code." Say it, write it, anchor it. Let that be the signal the field receives, because this is not just a video. This is an initiation. This is a doorway. And you are the one who must walk through. So let me ask you once more. If you could rewrite the script of your life, if you could collapse a future where your deepest desires are already alive, where would you begin? The answer is waiting. The choice is yours. The time is now. Everything you are living right now is only one possibility among infinite possibilities waiting for you to choose. Have you ever questioned why your life feels so fixed? Why it feels as if destiny has already been written? Why the same struggles keep repeating, no matter how hard you fight? What if that sense of permanence is the greatest illusion you have ever believed? You see, reality is not solid. It is not permanent. It is not unchangeable stone. Reality is fluid, dynamic, alive, and it bends in response to you. Quantum physics has revealed something extraordinary. Nothing exists in a fixed state until it is observed. This is the observer effect. It shatters the very idea of a stable, objective world. It tells us that life is not happening to you. Life is happening through you. Right now. You are the observer, and your subconscious mind is the most powerful observer of all. Even when you do not realize it, it is watching, transmitting, deciding. It is collapsing one version of reality into existence while leaving countless others untouched. Niels Bohr, one of the founding fathers of quantum mechanics, stated clearly that nothing is definite until it has been measured, until it has been observed. This means the solid world you see around you is not truly solid. It is potential, shaped into form by the act of observation itself. So imagine this. Every choice, every belief, every hidden expectation, they all act like instructions, pushing the quantum field to crystallize one outcome instead of another. That is why your life feels like destiny. Not because destiny is real, but because your subconscious has been consistently broadcasting the same command. You tell yourself you want abundance. Yet your subconscious repeats, "I am not enough." You hope for love. Yet your subconscious echoes, "I will be abandoned." You pray for freedom. Yet your subconscious hums with, "I am trapped." And that is the frequency the field responds to. Science backs this up. Research into epigenetics by Dr. Bruce Lipton shows that nearly 95% of your daily actions, emotions, and attractions are not guided by conscious intention. They are ruled by subconscious programming, installed in childhood, reinforced by culture, inherited from family. So what does this mean for you? It means you are not fated to one path. You are tuned into one frequency. And the miracle is that frequencies can change. But first, you must face the truth. Your so-called destiny is not written in the stars. It is written in the subconscious patterns that run beneath your awareness. The scars you carry, the imprints you absorbed, the beliefs you never questioned. Those are the codes that keep repeating your reality. And here is where the mystery deepens. The universe itself waits for your signal. A vast field of infinite versions of you exists in the quantum soup of possibility. The version that already healed, the version that already succeeded, the version that already found peace. They are all real. They are all vibrating. But only one will collapse into your lived reality. And the determining factor is your frequency. Consider this story. A student in America once spiraled into deep depression. For years, he felt stuck. He believed his future was fixed. He thought nothing could change the weight pressing down on his chest. But then he discovered the practice of heart coherence. Each day he focused his breath into his chest, cultivating gratitude, aligning his heart rhythm. At first, it felt impossible. But after weeks of steady practice, something shifted. Within 3 months, his state of being transformed. His depression lifted. Opportunities opened. His life, once dark and heavy, became filled with light and movement. Not because fate suddenly favored him, but because he rewrote the code his subconscious was transmitting. This is the power of coherence. This is the science of frequency. This is the truth buried in the observer effect. Reality waits for your signal. The universe does not obey your words. It obeys your vibration dot, so ask yourself, what are you really broadcasting right now? What is your subconscious transmitting beneath the surface of your conscious desires? Because that, more than anything, is choosing your future. Every morning you wake up, you are standing at a fork in the quantum road. Infinite paths stretch before you. But only one path will materialize. The path that matches your current frequency. The path that aligns with your subconscious observation. This is why change feels so hard. You think you are fighting destiny, but you are only fighting your own code. And once you see that, the illusion collapses. The truth is unsettling, but it is also liberating. Nothing is fixed. Nothing is permanent. You are not doomed to repeat the same patterns. You are not chained to the same outcomes. You are simply resonating with a frequency you have not yet questioned. Now pause. Feel this moment. The urgency is real, because every thought, every feeling, every hidden belief is broadcasting now. Not tomorrow, not later, now. And the field is listening not. So I ask you, what would happen if you chose to shift? What reality would collapse into existence if you dared to broadcast a different code? If you want me to explain more of the experiments that prove this truth, drop a comment right now saying, I want to know more. Let that be your first signal of change, because your life is not fixed. It is not locked. It is waiting for the observer to choose, waiting for you to transmit a new frequency. And the deeper question is this: how will you recognize the old codes that have been silently controlling your future? Fear, procrastination, the feeling of not being enough, all of it is only data. Have you ever woken up with a heavy chest? A sense of dread pressing down before the day even begins? Thoughts racing, doubts whispering, pressure building, and you wonder why it feels impossible to break free. Why the same emotions keep showing up, no matter how hard you try. What if those feelings are not signs of weakness? What if they are signals, codes, instructions, data points being broadcast from deep inside your subconscious? You see, every fear is a message. Every delay is a signal. Every sense of unworthiness is not proof that you are broken, by proof that an old code is still running. A code you never consciously wrote. A code installed long before you had the power to question it. Bruce Lipton, in his research on epigenetics, revealed something astonishing. By the age of 7, most of your subconscious programs are already in place. 95% of what you think, feel, and do every single day is not chosen by your conscious mind. It is replayed from patterns absorbed in childhood. Patterns of scarcity, patterns of fear, patterns of doubt. So when you wake up with anxiety, when you feel unworthy of success, when you delay your own dreams, you are not lazy. You are not flawed. You are simply broadcasting the echoes of an old script. Think about it. A child watches their parents struggle, and the code of lack is written. A child hears words of doubt, and the code of fear is imprinted. A child feels abandoned, and the code of unworthiness takes root. And decades later, those same codes still broadcast, pulling you back into the same loops. But here is the truth. These old codes are not destiny. They are not chains that can never be broken. They are only signals. And once you recognize them as data, you can decode them. You can rewrite them. Consider the story of a businessman in California. He faced bankruptcy not once, but multiple times. Each new venture collapsed. Each dream fell apart. He believed he was cursed with bad luck. But when he finally examined his subconscious, he saw the truth. He was broadcasting poverty. Every thought, every fear, every expectation was sending a signal of lack, and reality obeyed. When he shifted his code, everything changed. Abundance flowed. Success multiplied. His life turned completely around. The lesson is clear. Failure is not punishment. Delay is not weakness. Fear is not final. They are instructions. They are data streams revealing the code still running in your subconscious dot. So ask yourself, what signals have you been sending? What fears are replaying? What hidden beliefs are broadcasting scarcity into the field? Because the universe is listening. It does not hear what you say. It hears what you are. This is why the same patterns keep repeating. This is why opportunities slip away. This is why dreams feel just out of reach. Not because you cannot have them, but because your subconscious is broadcasting a different frequency than your conscious desires. And here lies the urgency. Every day you allow the old code to run, the loop continues. The same emotions, the same results, the same script. But the moment you see it for what it is, the power shifts. The moment you recognize fear as data, you stop being controlled by it. So what if the dread you feel is not the end, but the beginning? What if procrastination is not proof of weakness, but proof of an old frequency asking to be rewritten? What if unworthiness is not a sentence, but a signal? You are not your fear. You are not your delay. You are not your doubt. These are echoes of a past program. Programs you never chose. Programs you can rewrite. And that is the miracle hidden inside the pain. The code can be changed. The frequency can be recalibrated. The broadcast can be rewritten. So here is your invitation. If you feel the weight of the old code pressing on you, if you are tired of repeating the same loops, then take a stand now. Declare it. Anchor it. Comment the words, I am deleting the old code. Let the field hear a different signal for the first time, because this is not about perfection. This is about awareness. Awareness that gives you back your power. Awareness that shows you every negative emotion is not an enemy, but a teacher. The data is speaking. The question is, will you listen? Because the moment you do, you step onto a different path. You begin to write a different script. You begin to collapse a different future. And that brings us to the next mystery. If the old code can be exposed and decoded, then how is the new code written? What frequency creates the future you desire? What signal summons the life you are ready to live? You do not need to chase a new reality. You only need to remember you already have it. Have you ever asked yourself why you always feel behind? Why, no matter how much you achieve, it is never enough? Why the voice inside keeps whispering that you are incomplete, that you are not worthy yet, that you must earn your place? What if that voice is not your truth? What if that voice is only the echo of a false identity? The mask of the negative ego. There are two versions of you, the false self and the higher self. The false self is the critic, the doubter, the one that keeps score. It is fueled by fear, comparison, and shame. It tells you that you are not good enough until you prove it. And even then, it moves the finish line farther away. But your higher self is different. Your higher self does not chase. It remembers. It remembers the wholeness that has always been within you. It knows that you are already enough, that you do not need to become. You only need to awaken. So the real question is this: which self have you been listening to? Which frequency have you been broadcasting? Psychological research shows us that practices like meditation can literally rewire the brain. Neural pathways of stress weaken. Pathways of calm and clarity strengthen. The false self loses power. The higher self comes forward. This is not only spiritual. This is science. The brain reshapes itself according to the signals you give it. And here lies the key. Every time you fall silent, every time you breathe deep, every time you turn inward and connect with the space of presence, you are remembering. You are tuning back to the higher frequency. You are returning to the self that does not doubt, the self that does not chase. There was once a woman in America who lived through years of abuse. She felt broken. She felt worthless. The false self told her she had no power. But then she discovered meditation. She began to connect with her breath. She began to listen to the still voice of her higher self. Slowly, she remembered. Slowly, she rose. And from that remembrance, she built a new life. Not only for herself, but for others. She founded an organization to protect women, to give them shelter, to give them voice. Her power came not from becoming someone new, but from remembering who she truly was. So what about you? How many years will you let the false self dictate your story? How long will you listen to the voice that says you are not enough? You already have the reality you seek. It is not outside of you. It is within you, waiting for you to align, waiting for you to stop chasing and start remembering. Imagine if you lived one day entirely from your higher self. Imagine if every choice came from wholeness instead of fear. Imagine if you no longer tried to prove, but simply allowed yourself to be. How different would your life feel? How different would it look? The urgency is real. Because every moment you spend believing the false self, you reinforce its code. Every moment you live from doubt, you transmit the frequency of lack. And the universe has no choice but to reflect it back. But the moment you remember, the moment you shift, the broadcast changes. The field reorganizes. Life mirrors your higher self instead of your lower one. You do not need permission to be whole. You do not need validation to be worthy. You only need to choose which self you will let speak. So I invite you right now, if you feel the pull to rise, if you feel the whisper of your higher self calling you back, then mark this moment. Declare it. Anchor it. Press like right now if you are ready to live from your higher self. Let that action be your signal, because this is not about someday. This is not about waiting until you are perfect. This is about remembering the perfection that already lives inside you. The false self will fight. It will whisper louder. It will tell you that you are not ready, but you are. You always were. You always will be dot, so breathe, choose, remember, and let me leave you with this. If the old code can be exposed, if the false self can be silenced, then how is the new code written? How do you install the frequency of your higher self into every part of your life? That is the mystery waiting for you now. Change does not come from trying. It comes from shifting your frequency. Have you ever wondered why affirmations fail? Why you repeat the same words day after day, yet nothing changes? Why you tell yourself you are abundant, you are free, you are worthy, but life does not mirror it back? The reason is simple. Words alone do not shift reality. Frequency does not your subconscious, does not respond to what you say. It responds to what you feel. It responds to the vibration you carry in your body, in your heart, in your nervous system. And until that frequency changes, the code remains the same dot. So how do you rewrite it? How do you install a new code that the universe cannot ignore? The answer is found in a method I call the Quantum Coherence Protocol. 4 simple steps. 4 shifts that change everything. Step 1. Anchor into the heart. Close your eyes. Bring your attention to the center of your chest. Breathe slowly. 5 seconds in. 5 seconds out. Imagine your heart glowing, radiating light in every direction. Science proves your heart emits an electromagnetic field 100 times stronger than your brain. That field is measurable. That field is your signal. When you anchor into the heart, you align with coherence. You stabilize your frequency. You become a beacon. Step 2. Enter the future self. Ask your body, what does it feel like to already be the version of me who has what I desire? Let your body answer, not your mind. Feel the joy. Feel the peace. Feel the abundance. Let your nervous system bathe in those chemicals. This is not pretending. This is not wishful thinking. This is embodying the memory of the future. A memory your body believes is real. Step 3. Install the new code. With your heart still glowing and your future self alive inside you, speak the truth as if it has already happened. Say silently or out loud, I am broadcasting the frequency of my chosen reality. I am coherent. I am aligned. The field is listening, and I am receiving. Repeat it 3 times, not as empty words, but as energy. Feel every syllable vibrate through your body. This is the moment the code is rewritten. Step 4. Seal the transmission. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your stomach. Say, I allow myself to remember who I truly am. I am not becoming. I have arrived. This is my frequency. This is where I stay. Breathe deeply 3 times. Anchor it. Seal it. Let it sink into every cell. This is the Quantum Coherence Protocol. Simple, precise, powerful. And once you practice it, the broadcast shifts. The field responds. Reality reorganizes. Let me share a story. A doctor in New York once battled depression for years. Traditional methods failed him. Medication dulled the pain, but never dissolved it. He discovered this protocol and committed to it each morning. For 6 months, he anchored his heart, embodied his future self, installed the new code, and sealed it. At first, nothing seemed different, but slowly, steadily, the weight lifted. His energy returned. His joy resurfaced. Not only did he heal, but his work thrived. He went on to earn a scientific award, recognized not for escaping his depression, but for innovating from the place of his renewed coherence. His entire life transformed, not through force, through frequency. So what about you? How many more days will you repeat empty words and expect change? How long will you keep chasing results while ignoring the frequency you broadcast? The universe is not fooled by affirmations. It listens only to vibration. It listens to coherence. And the moment you shift that, life cannot resist. Reality must obey dot. So I ask you right now, are you ready to practice? Are you ready to anchor your heart? Are you ready to embody your future? If you are, then take one small action. Comment the words, I want to practice now. Let that declaration be the first signal you send, because this is not about effort. This is not about struggle. This is about calibration. The field does not respond to how hard you try. It responds to how aligned you are. And the deeper secret is this. Once the new code is written, the real challenge begins. Because codes do not hold themselves. Frequencies require stability. So the question that waits for you next is this. If you write the new code today, how will you sustain it tomorrow? How will you keep the signal clear when the old reality tries to pull you back? Procrastination is not weakness. It is only a signal of the old code. Have you ever felt the burning desire to act, only to freeze when the moment arrives? You know what you should do. You even feel the urgency. Yet something invisible pulls you back. Hours slip away. Days pass. The dream waits. And guilt grows heavier with every delay. But what if procrastination is not proof that you are broken? What if it is simply the echo of a program running beneath your awareness? A broadcast from your subconscious, replaying fear, replaying doubt, replaying the old code. The truth is this. Procrastination is not laziness. It is protection. Your subconscious believes it is keeping you safe. Safe from failure. Safe from rejection. Safe from the unknown. But in reality, it is keeping you stuck, trapped inside a loop that repeats until you decide to break it dot. So let us redefine it. Procrastination is not your enemy. It is your signal. A message pointing directly to the code that must be. Rewritten science shows us that even the smallest shift can disrupt the loop. James Clear, in his work on habits, revealed that tiny actions repeated consistently create massive transformations. One small step, one small win. That is all it takes to override the old code dot. So here is a strategy. The 2-minute rule. If the task feels overwhelming, break it down until it takes only 2 minutes. Write the first line of the email. Put on your running shoes. Open the book. 2 minutes. That is all. Because once you begin, momentum takes over. Action generates energy, and energy breaks the loop. There was once a student of Asian descent living in America. He dreamed of becoming an entrepreneur, but fear of failure chained him. Every time he tried, he froze. Procrastination ruled his days, until he discovered the power of micro-actions. 2 minutes a day. At first, it seemed trivial, but those tiny steps built habits. Habits became confidence. Confidence became bold action. And within years, he was not just free of procrastination. He was a millionaire entrepreneur. His empire began with 2 minutes dot. So ask yourself, what 2 minutes could you give today? What small action could you take right now that signals a new code? Because the moment you act, even in the smallest way, you shift frequency. You send the field a new broadcast. And the universe cannot help but respond. The urgency is real. Because every time you delay, you reinforce the old code. Every time you wait, you strengthen the broadcast of fear. And life reflects it back with more waiting, more delay, more missed opportunities. But the moment you move, even for 2 minutes, the code cracks. The frequency shifts. The loop breaks dot, so let go of the guilt. Release the shame. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply being asked to send a new signal. What signal will you send today? Will you choose fear, or will you choose action? If you feel the call to break free, anchor it right now. Drop a heart in the comments if you commit to act today. Let that be your declaration. Let that be the first step, because this is not about waiting until you feel ready. Readiness never comes. This is about proving to your subconscious that you are no longer ruled by the old code. 1 action, 2 minutes. That is enough to begin. And once you begin, you cannot go back. The loop is broken. The energy is unleashed. So I ask you, when procrastination loses its grip, what will you do with the freedom it leaves behind? When fear no longer holds the broadcast, what future will you create? And that leads us to the next question. If you overcome procrastination today, what practices will ensure you sustain the new frequency tomorrow? What power will help you maintain the code you are choosing now? Coherence is not a moment. It is a lifestyle. Have you ever felt the fire to change? Practiced for a few days and then slipped back into the old rhythm. You meditate once, you breathe deeply, you feel the shift. But then life pulls you back. The texts, the stress, the noise, and the vibration fades. What if coherence was never meant to be a single practice? What if it was designed to be a way of living? Not something you visit, but something you embody. Not an event, but a lifestyle. The truth is this: frequency does not hold itself. It must be chosen again and again until it becomes natural. Until it becomes who you are. So how do you do it? How do you transform a temporary spark into a permanent broadcast? By weaving coherence into the smallest details of your life. The way you walk into a room, the way you answer a message, the way you breathe in moments of stress. Each act is a choice. Each choice is a signal. And together, they create the lifestyle of coherence. Science proves it. Studies show that on average, it takes 66 days to form a new habit. Not a week, not a month. 2 months of consistent repetition before a new pattern stabilizes. Before the brain rewires. Before the nervous system chooses the new normal. So imagine this. You wake up each morning and choose coherence before checking your phone. You step into a meeting and breathe deeply before speaking. You pause before replying to a message, aligning your heart before sending your words. These are not small acts. These are signals, broadcasts, proof that coherence is becoming your identity. There was once an athlete in America, a runner. Before every race, he performed a ritual. He closed his eyes. He breathed into his chest. He aligned his heart. He broadcasted coherence. At first, it was just preparation, but over time, it became his lifestyle. Every day, every interaction, he lived from coherence. And when the world watched, he won. He claimed Olympic gold, not because his body was stronger, but because his frequency was unwavering. So ask yourself, what rituals could you anchor into your day? What small acts could you repeat until they became effortless? Because the moment coherence becomes habit, the new code locks in, and the old patterns lose power. But here lies the urgency. If you stop, the old code calls you back. If you pause too long, the old broadcast begins again. That is why coherence must be practiced daily, not as a task, but as a way of being. This is not about perfection. It is about persistence, about choosing the frequency again and again until it chooses you back. So what will you choose today? Will you let coherence fade into another forgotten practice? Or will you let it become the signature of your life? Comment the words, "I will live in the new frequency," if you are ready to commit. Let your declaration be the anchor. Let your intention become the signal. Because coherence is not something you do. It is someone you become. It is the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you breathe. It is the field you broadcast into every space you enter. So I ask you now, when the habit of coherence is strong, When the new frequency becomes natural, how will you respond when the old patterns call you back? Will you listen? Or will you stand firm in the vibration you have chosen? That is the test that awaits you next. The old timeline will always try to pull you back, but you already have the tools to stand strong. Have you noticed how just when you begin to rise, the doubts return? Just when you start to shift, the old voices whisper louder. You feel momentum building, then suddenly you question yourself. You look for signs outside you. You wonder if it is working. And when nothing shows up fast enough, disappointment creeps in. What if I told you this is not failure? What if I told you this is proof you are on the edge of transformation? The old code will fight hardest when it knows it is losing power. Your brain itself prefers the familiar. Neuroscience shows us that even negative patterns feel safe because they are known. The brain resists change, not because change is impossible, but because it craves stability. That is why the old timeline pulls so strongly. That is why doubt feels louder the moment you step forward. But you are not powerless. You have the tools to stabilize your frequency, the tools to return to your heart, the tools to tune into your intuition and remember who you are. So when fear whispers, breathe. When doubt screams, close your eyes. Place your attention in your chest. Anchor into the heart. Feel the rhythm of coherence. This is the quantum solution. Not fighting the old timeline, but out-vibrating it. There was once a famous singer in America. At the height of her career, she fell back into addiction. Alcohol nearly destroyed her voice, her career, her life. She tried to resist with willpower alone, but the pull was relentless. Until she discovered the practice of heart coherence. She learned to return to her heart whenever the urge came. She stabilized her frequency. She rebuilt her strength from within. Today, she has been sober for over 10 years. Her voice stronger than ever. Her life a testimony to the power of coherence over the old timeline. So what about you? Will you let the old program dictate your future? Or will you use the tools already in your hands? The key is not perfection. The key is return. Every time you fall, return. Every time you doubt, return. Every time you feel the pull of the old, return. That return is the victory. That return is the proof of your strength. And here lies the truth. The old timeline never disappears completely. It lingers at the edges, waiting for your attention. But the more you choose coherence, the weaker it becomes. The more you return to your heart, the less power it has. Until one day, the old pull feels like a faint echo, a memory that no longer controls you. So let me ask you, what will you do when the doubts rise? What will you do when impatience creeps in? Will you collapse back into the old, or will you anchor deeper into the new? This is the real test. Not whether you fall, but whether you return. Not whether the old calls, but whether you answer. And right now you have a chance to declare your choice. Comment the words, "I will return to the new frequency," if you are ready to commit. Let that be your anchor. Let that be your signal to the field that you are not giving up, because the old will always pull. But the new is stronger. Your heart is stronger. Your frequency is stronger. So breathe. Stand firm. Remember. And now I ask you one more question. Once you have faced the challenges and proven that you can rise again and again, what will you create with that power? Once you know you cannot be broken, how will you design the future that is waiting for you? The future is not a place you arrive at. It is the state you broadcast in this very moment. Have you ever noticed how much of your energy is consumed by worrying about later, tomorrow, next year, the distant horizon? You live as if the future is something separate, waiting somewhere ahead of you. But what if the future is not ahead? What if it is here? What if every frequency you broadcast now is shaping which timeline unfolds before you? This changes everything. Because suddenly, the future is no longer an accident. It is no longer a mystery. It is your creation, and you are not a passive traveler in this process. You are the hero of the story. Storytelling teaches us this truth. Joseph Campbell revealed the monomyth, the journey of the hero that appears in myths across every culture. The ordinary person hears a call. They resist at first, but eventually step into the unknown. They face trials, they endure setbacks, but through it all, they transform. They return not only changed, but carrying a gift for the world. This is not just a myth. This is your story. Right now, you are standing at the threshold. You hear the call. You feel the pull. The future is not a destination waiting far ahead. It is a vibration calling you to rise. So let me ask you, will you wait for life to happen to you? Or will you step into the role of the hero and create it? There was once a veteran in America. He returned from war, carrying the weight of trauma. Nightmares haunted him. Anxiety consumed him. PTSD made him believe his future was already ruined. But instead of surrendering, he turned inward. He reframed his pain into purpose. He founded an organization to support other veterans, to give them hope, to give them healing. His wounds became his gift. His suffering became his mission. And his future was rewritten, not by accident, but by choice. This is the power you carry. The frequency you broadcast is not only about you, it ripples outward. It shapes the field around you. It calls others forward. The spark line of your story is already forming. The tension of your current struggle. The rise as you step into action. The breakthrough as you rewrite your code. The resolution as you embody the future self, who already exists within you. So what will you choose to broadcast? Fear or courage? Doubt or trust? Scarcity or abundance? Because whatever you emit now is what collapses into your tomorrow. The urgency is real. Every thought, every feeling, every breath is a vote, a signal, a frequency broadcast into the quantum field. And the field does not wait. It listens now. It responds now. So I invite you, right here, right now, declare your choice. Comment the words, "I am broadcasting a new future," to anchor it. Let your declaration ripple into the field. Let it summon the version of you who already exists in coherence. This is not about predicting the future. This is about creating it. This is about recognizing that you are not walking toward destiny. You are radiating destiny. You are vibrating it into form. And the story is not only about you. Every hero returns with a gift. The frequency you choose uplifts others. Your coherence becomes a lighthouse. Your signal becomes a path others can follow. So let me ask again. If the future is not a place you go, but a state you broadcast, what are you sending now? What signal will you choose when fear rises? What vibration will you hold when doubt calls? Because the moment you see the truth, there is no turning back. The future is not waiting somewhere ahead. The future is waiting inside you, ready to be released into the field. And here's the question that now emerges. Once you begin to broadcast this new future, how do you ensure it is not temporary? How do you root it so deeply that it endures when the storms come? What deeper foundation must you build so that your future is not just created, but sustained? You do not need to imitate anyone. The strongest vibration is when you are yourself. Have you ever felt the pressure to fit in? To adjust your voice, your style, your actions, just to be accepted? You scroll. You compare. You measure yourself against others. And no matter how hard you try, it always feels like you fall short. But what if comparison is the very thing weakening your signal? What if authenticity is not just honesty, but frequency? The moment you stop pretending, your vibration sharpens. The moment you stop performing, the field responds, because authenticity is alignment. Alignment with your higher self. Alignment with the truth that has been inside you all along, God. So the question is simple. Whose voice are you really speaking with? Yours, or the echo of others? Psychology has proven it. Studies show that people trust and follow those who are authentic far more than those who project perfection. Vulnerability creates connection. Honesty builds influence. Authenticity multiplies resonance. And this is not only research. This is reality. There was once a YouTuber in America who built a channel with a polished mask. Everything scripted, everything fake. The audience watched, but they did not connect. Views stayed flat. Growth stalled. Until one day, she decided to drop the mask. She spoke raw about her journey of healing. She shared the messy truth, and the channel exploded. Millions of views. A community built on resonance, not performance. Her success came not from being perfect, but from being real. So what about you? How much longer will you wear the mask? How much longer will you hide your true vibration under layers of comparison and fear? Your higher self is not asking you to be better. It is asking you to be true, to stop filtering, to stop imitating, to remember that your frequency is strongest when it is pure. Because here is the truth. The universe does not respond to masks. It responds to resonance. The more authentic you are, the stronger your broadcast becomes. And the stronger your broadcast, the more reality aligns with you. So release the fear of judgment. Release the obsession with perfection. Perfection is static. Authenticity is alive. And the urgency is real. Every day you live through someone else's frequency, you delay your own. Every day you mimic, you weaken the signal that was meant to open doors only you could walk through. So I ask you now, what would happen if you stopped comparing? What would happen if you spoke with your own voice? What reality would collapse into place if you dared to be completely true? The choice is here. The power is yours. And if you feel the call to step into your true frequency, anchor it now. Press like if you commit to live as yourself. Let that action be the signal. Let that choice become the broadcast. Because this is not about being louder. It is about being real. It is about choosing authenticity over imitation. It is about remembering that the most magnetic vibration is the one that carries your true signature. So breathe. Remember, trust your tone, trust your rhythm, trust your voice, and then ask yourself this. If you live in full authenticity, if you embody your higher self without apology, how will you resonate with the community waiting for your true signal? What new connections, what powerful bonds, what movements will you awaken when your voice is finally your own? We are not just an audience. We are a field of energy co-creating together. Have you felt it? The pull of something larger than yourself. The whisper that you are not just here to watch, but to participate, to build, to transmit, to resonate. What if this is not just a channel? What if this is a living frequency? A field you are already part of. Every thought you send, every word you type, every signal you broadcast here adds to the resonance. Physics calls it the resonance effect. When multiple waves align, their power multiplies. One voice is strong. A community of voices is unstoppable. Imagine what happens when thousands of us anchor into coherence at the same time. Imagine the ripple as our frequencies merge. Imagine the timelines that collapse into being when we choose the new code together. This is not theory. This is happening. There was once a small community in America that practiced heart coherence as a group. Only a handful at first. They gathered daily, broadcasting the frequency of love and unity. Within a year, their resonance grew so strong it birthed real projects. social programs, support networks, movements that touched thousands of lives. What began as a small practice became a wave of transformation. And now it is your turn. You are not just watching a video. You are standing at the edge of a field that expands every time you act, every time you comment, every time you share, every time you like, every time you subscribe. These are not empty gestures. They are signals. They are energy amplifiers. They are how we strengthen the field. So let me ask you, will you stay silent or will you resonate? Will you be a lone observer or will you step fully into the frequency we are building here? The urgency is real because every new voice that joins amplifies the wave. Every comment anchors the signal deeper. Every share sends ripples into new timelines. And every subscription ensures the field keeps expanding day after day. So if you feel the pull, do not hesitate. Comment now. Declare your frequency. Write the words, "I am broadcasting the new future." Press like to amplify the wave. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe, not just to follow content, but to step into the circle of co-creators. Because this is not about me. This is about us. This is about the field. This is about a resonance that grows stronger with every heartbeat that joins. You are not just a viewer. You are a co-creator. You are part of the wave that is shaping reality in this very moment. So I ask you, with all the urgency of this truth, are you ready to step into the new code right now? Are you ready to let your signal merge with ours? Are you ready to live not as a watcher, but as a transmitter of the new timeline? The future is waiting. The field is alive. The code is rewriting. And your choice in this moment decides how strong the wave becomes. So choose. Right here, right now. Join the field. Amplify the resonance. Anchor the new code. And together, we will not only imagine the future, we will broadcast it into being.